Well, I think I told you, or I alluded to it, that I was married and got a divorce and then he died. And then I was alone for 14 years. And I took off. I bought myself a duffel and a new pair of sneakers and I took off. I took off and traveled the world by myself. And then I met this very young person, my sweet young thing. And he's much younger than I am. And it's sort of shameful. You're not laughing. But we've been married 20 odd years, and I told you he's getting a little bald. But this is when it began. And we used to live in Indianapolis. As a matter of fact, I hired him. But we taught at a very conservative school. So we used to go down to Louisville, which is across the river, across the Ohio River, to do our courting. And those of you who were in class today, remember the exercise I gave you about the elevator? This was written from that exercise. It's called I'm Loving a Younger Man. One day, when I am 91, you will look at me from the doorway, leaning with your head tilted to one side. And I will wonder if you remember how I used to lean and lay my head down black and whispering on the pillowcase, fresh from the wash. And how later I would turn, tucking my knees under yours for the night's insensible hours. And if I haven't forgotten, my mind gone blank as a sheet, I'll remind you then of the old amazed look your face wore once at how much your hands already knew. And I will call you back from the doorway to adjust the sweater around my shoulders, the robe in my lap, and take your hand upturned in mine to show you how that line is still there. The lifeline I once traced with my nail that day on the bench by the Ohio River, that first time when I, troubled, leaned my head on your shoulder sideways the way I do now, and you will then. Have you ever played that game where you stand behind somebody, putting your hands through their armpits like this? And while they're doing things, you're also doing things. Raise your hand so I know what you're talking about. You know, it reminds you of the Indian god Shiva, who had 6 arms. Right? So this is called watching you in the mirror. Suppose I stood behind you, slipped my bare arms under yours and arched them about, making you into a 4-armed god, all ministering to your fresh from the shower nakedness, combing, deodorizing, touching toothpaste to your brush, while you concentrated on shaving, twisting your mouth in that funny way you do. Would you, compelled by the light streaming in the window, lift up one foot as if to dance, toes flexed, heel down, and balancing on one leg, glow as Shiva did in that ring of fire? And if I suddenly bit you, the way I do sometimes, and you, unable to turn, caught in the bas-relief of the game, how would you read me? I have played wife so well for 15 years. Turban wrapped behind you, my name, Surya, copper-headed daughter of the sun, who, like my father, roaring in the ether, loves to linger over skin, using her teeth to know you. For God's sake, death comes only to those who blink. Gods never blink or shut their eyes, but shuffle the world, growing tusks long with knowledge. Husband, I tell you, there will be no end to my knowing. In the reflection of my eyes, you shall never sleep. If necessary, I will gnaw every mirror you're in, swallowing it down to keep you awake and inside me. A little poem about snow. I know you don't get snow here. But this is written in Indiana, and just imagine the snow on the dark maple trees. It's like white ermine. A little love poem. Snow. Let us speak of love and weather, subtracting nothing. Let us put your mother and mine away for a while, your dying father, my dead one. Let us watch from our bedroom window how a slow falling snow crowns all nakedness in ermine. Do not look at me yet. Your face is flushed, your eyes too love-soaked, too blue. Outside is white on black and still, the sky deaf with stillness. Don't let it frighten you. Hush. There's time enough for that. Be content for now to watch the maples fill with snow, how they spread themselves, each naked limb making itself accessible. Don't you think the word accessible is the sexiest word in the English language? Think about it. Think about it. Okay, and this is the last poem. It's called Apollo Comes to Floyd's Knobs, Indiana. Floyd's Knobs is a place in southern Indiana where there's knobs, that is, some hills. Apollo is the Greek god of light, of reason, of creativity, all the good things, okay? And all you have to remember about this poem is that the sacred tree of Apollo is the laurel tree. Got it? It's called laurel tree. Okay? Well, there was a time when this was written in the summer when we had a lot of rain. And therefore, all of Indiana, especially southern Indiana, just turned green. Fat with green. Everywhere is green. Forest green, moss, jungle, viridian. All Indiana, down to the Ohio, pushing against fences, swelling with juice. A fat lady taking up 2 seats on the airplane. We used to be forest here, before the urge for acreage and the axe, pickled beets and church on Sunday. Forest, before there was a Sunday. Even before God took off for Italy to have his portrait painted. And this year, despite what you've read in the checkout line, the news isn't who diddled whom sideways, but that we're being rained on, flooded, snaked out. Green is in. When lilacs last in the dooryard bloom, mister, they're eating up the house. I tell you, Papa's coming home. He's fed up writing prescriptions and orders for the medium indifferent. He's bought himself a bank of clouds, some killer luggage and a watering can, and no kicking the tires or shivering prayer in a booth is going to stop me. Before you know it, sycamores will be sawing through your floorboards. A cedar big as a myth will rise in your toilet. And more white pine, Scotch pine, loblolly that you can count will crash out of your closets demanding your furniture back. With no more TVs, PCs, plugins for your little mouse, who knows what else? You lose your job, your son becomes an English major, and your wife of 32 years decides to throw away all her clothes and frisk in a laurel tree, naked, insisting she'll not come down until you learn Greek and climb up, strict, hot, and hard again with love, singing, Oreya, Oreya, beautiful. You're kidding. My wife, secretary of the Bridge Club, flashing her puckered thighs and beckoning like the Lorelei, bewitched in varicose and droop. Whisper, just climb up. Take your belly and bald head and climb, if only because she is ridiculous. An old hen playing chickie on a balcony, asking only that you rise like the cypress from your knees and clutch her to you in all her bravery and redeeming foolishness. Cradle her face the way you would a crystal cup you could drink from forever. Then hurl yourself for once into your heart's voice. The leaves around your head will whisper what you need to say. Thank you.